Well, 20 minutes after the hour, and Pastor Ryan Speakman is joining me in the studio this morning, this Friday, last day of July.
So, last day of July, you were saying.
Yes, last day of July, and it's a Friday as well. And
boy, this year is just flying by, huh?
I know.
Because, time flies when you're having fun.
And everybody, with the sheltering in place, people are saying it's going to be a really long year and all that. I mean, tomorrow's August.
Yeah.
We're
way more
crazy.
We're more than halfway through this thing. So thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah, it's been an interesting year for sure.
It has.
So signs of the times, my friend.
That's right, and that's what we talk about on this.
That's our Friday morning show every other Friday. Yeah, The Coming Kingdom with Bill and Ryan. Yeah, find it on your favorite podcast platform if you want to hear it after, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So
if you want to go back and catch previous episodes as well. So
so this morning's actually our 12th episode.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a full dozen right there, and pretty cool. So been having fun with this, covering a lot of ground. So,
right, and the ground we're going to be covering today is more about the incense.
We're going to continue that discussion. So we spent the whole episode 2 weeks ago talking about the Holy Incense and how critically important it is to the Holy Temple, and the reason that this is pertinent for us today is because, of course, like we talk about quite a bit here, the number one sign that we are watching for as believers that Jesus is coming back soon is
the rebuilding of the temple.
The rebuilding of the temple, So it's what we call the third temple, and the second temple was destroyed in the year AD 70. So we're talking almost 2,000 years ago, and there hasn't been a temple since then.
Right.
So today in Jerusalem on the Temple Mount, there's a Muslim shrine called the Dome of the Rock. And anyone who's seen a picture, photograph of Jerusalem, or who's been there, of course,
big gold dome.
It's by far the most prominent feature of the Jerusalem landscape, but that has to go away. That actually has to come down and in one form or another be moved or removed, or who knows how it's going to go, but it has to make way for the third Jewish temple. And as Christians, I think that we were talking about this in my class last night at church, that for most Christians, I think that's such a distant, far removed, point. I mean, isn't that a Jewish thing?
Yeah, that topic really doesn't come up usually. It's something that's not talked about.
And I've been studying, the topic of the last days since I was 10 years old. So that's, 42 years and counting. It'll be 43 years in September. Hey, because I'll be turning 53. Do the math on that, right? But it took me, years and years, even decades, really. It wasn't until, I started to write my book series in 1999, and a few years into that, and I started to really see, this is the point of the whole story, is that temple being rebuilt. And why? What's so pertinent about the Holy Temple? We say the Jewish temple. It's not the Jewish temple. It's the Holy Temple. The book of Isaiah calls it a house of prayer for all nations.
Yeah.
And the book of Zechariah says that during the millennial reign of the Messiah, who we know as Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazareth, right? Mm-hmm. His Hebrew name is Yeshua. He will be ruling and reigning from that spot, the Holy Temple. He's not going to have an office in a high rise in downtown Manhattan, heaven forbid, right? Or even in downtown Jerusalem. It's going to be the Holy Temple. But in Zechariah, it says that throughout the millennial reign, and I get the impression, even beyond that all nations of the world will come up to Jerusalem to pay homage to the King, who again is Jesus. Every Sukkot, that's a Hebrew holiday. We talked about Sukkot a couple or a few episodes ago. But is the Holy Temple pertinent to Christians?
Yeah.
And why? Because, like the book of Isaiah says, and he was seeing a vision of God, but he said, I saw God seated on his throne, and the train of his robe filled the temple.
Yeah.
So in the heavenly realm, what is God's throne room? It's the Holy of Holies within the temple.
Yeah,
that's
the
God's throne.
Yeah.
So and then of course the temple here on earth is a direct reflection of that. So we haven't really needed the temple for 2,000 years because there's no king to sit on that throne. Jesus hasn't come back yet, and in the interim, you and I, we know we are the temple of the Holy Spirit. So we're kind of filling in that blank. until Jesus comes back. But this is why we should be very excited as Christians about the temple being rebuilt. Is the Antichrist going to take it over for a few years? Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, no,
but it's not his. I mean, we can't
Right.
surrender that real estate to
tries
Satan and
to
say, oh, I'm a
usurp
Christian.
authority.
I want nothing to do with the temple because the Antichrist is going. That's illegal. Satan is trying to steal God's throne room on earth, and of course he fails in the end. So about how long will he actually?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Yeah, last half of the Great Tribulation. So we're excited about that. Yes, the incense is extremely important. That has to be rediscovered. We're on the verge of that now. Before the temple can be built and dedicated. So that's one of the last pieces of the puzzle that needs to fall into place. So we set that up pretty well in our last episode. Again, go on Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, iTunes, I think is the platform for Apple, right? And you'll find our podcast on any of those platforms. So again, it's The Coming Kingdom with Bill and Ryan. If you want to get caught up to what we're going to talk about this morning. And
yeah.
It's going to be fun, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, more fun
we'll
ahead.
Get to that here in just a few minutes.
It's getting exciting, yeah.
It is.
This whole topic, yeah.
We're getting closer to our topic as we're getting closer to what's actually happening in Scripture. So
it's mind-boggling how much all of the pieces of the puzzle that the Bible lays out are coming together in our time, just in our generation.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Probably kind of a sign,
I think.
Yeah.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah, I think so.
Matt Redman coming up next with Upon Him. The telephone number, 800-721-9313, 1-800-721-9313. Well, Pastor Ryan Speakman's in the studio with me this Friday morning on this last day of July, talking about incense, the building of the temple, which we usually talk about on the Friday mornings that we're together.
We have been, yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's a fun topic.
It is,
yeah.
And I love how you have done the research on this and found an actual scientist that's in Australia that's indirectly working on this secret recipe for the incense.
Yeah, exactly.
Give a little backstory on that. I know that we talked about this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But
and
I'd like to go in a little bit more detail about this.
Yeah, so. we actually left off just before we started to talk about this Australian marine biologist, like you mentioned. So so we hadn't gotten into this yet. So and this is by far the most interesting part of the story, because it's happening, right now. So
right. And she's been researching this for 3 years or something like that, I think you said?
Probably a little bit longer. She actually published her paper on this topic in 2017. So I'm assuming that the research actually started
years before. Yeah,
probably at least 2015 or something. So and we're talking about a marine biologist. Her name is Dr. Kirsten Benkendorf. And the way that I ran across her work is in the context of my book series. So again, my name is Ryan Speakman. I'm an associate pastor at Living Word Family Church here in Lake Havasu City. And I have a ministry called These Final Days Ministries. If the listeners are interested, they can find all my content on thesefinaldays.org. I have over 35,000 followers on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/These Final Days, YouTube channel, etc. But I started writing my book series in 1999. It'll be a 5-part series by the time I'm done. It's called These Final Days. So These Final Days Part 1, Part 2. The first 2 parts are on Amazon, best-selling series. We always have to throw that out there, right?
Yes. They've actually in the top 10 for pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, ever since I published Part 2, they've both been in the on the bestsellers list on Amazon for eschatology. And that was, 2.5 years ago, so quite a while. And they kind of bump in and out of the top 10 every now and then. Part 1 makes it to the number 1 slot, so I can actually say, number 1 bestseller, in that category, eschatology, which is a good sized category. There's almost 10,000 books in that category. So that's exciting. So right now I'm in the process of doing the final edit. I have been for about the last year and a half of part 3 of the series. And to me, this is going to end up being the most interesting, volume in the entire series. I think, because it's about this. It's all about the Holy Temple and the Holy Spirit returning to the temple, which is unheard of, for most Christians. That's a, perish the thought, right? But he 100% will. That is central to the whole end time story, and Jesus coming back and everything, the Antichrist doing what he does. But so in writing part 3, I've gotten very deeply into all the pieces of the puzzle that have to be in place before the temple can be built. So we have to have the Ark of the Covenant. We've got to have the red heifer. We have to have the blue dye. It's called techelet in the Hebrew, right? Yeah. The blue dye. We have to have the Levitical priests, and we have to have the Holy Incense, right? So all these things, amazingly, astoundingly, have come within grasp, within reach, just in our generation, Bill, right?
I know.
Everyone listening. So the Ark of the Covenant, the Jews have always known, where that's hidden. King Josiah, way back, in about the year, around the year 600 BC, so quite a while ago, right? Yes. He got a revelation from God that the Babylonians would be coming and destroying Jerusalem and the Holy Temple. So he had the priests at that time hide the Ark of the Covenant deep inside the Temple Mount. It's directly underneath that Muslim structure we talked about in the last segment, the Dome of the Rock. And, I interviewed Rabbi Chaim Richman, the international director of the Temple Institute. They're the group that's, preparing everything to rebuild the temple. Yeah. Back in 2012, and I'm in touch with him even today. I think in the last week we've had a little exchange, by email. But when in my first interview with him, he said, "Look, it's not a secret where the Ark is. Every Jewish, yeshiva student, for 2,000 years has known where the Ark is. It's no secret. The problem has been, of course, that the Jews can't get to it, or couldn't get to it because for nearly 2,000 years." They were barely even, allowed in the Holy Land, right?
Yeah.
So in 1948, the Jews finally, reestablished the nation of Israel with the United States' help.
Big time.
Without the United States, right?
Yeah.
But God is using the United States to establish and protect, Israel, right? But and then on June 7, 1967, the Jews actually recaptured the Temple Mount where the Ark is hidden.
That was after the 7-Day War? Or,
it was right in the middle of the 7-Day, the 7-Day War, 6-Day War. 6-Day War, it's called, yeah. Okay. And so for about 52 years now, the Jews, they have access to the Ark of the Covenant. The political climate, as we all know, isn't quite ideal for them to go in there and get it.
Yeah.
But it's within reach. When the time comes, which will be very, very soon, they know where it is. They have control of the Temple Mount. They can go in and get it when the time is right. The holy priests, the Levitical priesthood, in the 1990s, it became possible to start doing DNA testing. Now they've been identified. The potential high priest, it's called the Kohen Gadol, the high priest. He has to be from a specific family of Levites called the Kohens, right? Cohen.
Right.
And that has to be proven with DNA. We've only had this technology for, a couple of decades. Yeah. So this is in our lifetime too, right? The red heifer, there hadn't been one born for 2,000 years. They started, the first one was born in the I think in 1994, if I remember correctly, in Camden, New Jersey, of all places, right? And right now, the fourth and fifth red heifers are on a secret ranch somewhere in northern Israel that the Temple Institute runs. Haven't quite made it to the point where they can be deemed kosher, to be the red heifer. But this has all happened within our lifetime. The all of a sudden red heifers are being born, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the two other pieces of the puzzle that I named that have to be rediscovered, the blue dye and the incense. Why don't we take a quick break, listen to some music, and when we come back, we'll talk about those two final pieces of the puzzle and where we are with discovery.
Yeah, and the doctor that biologist, marine biologist that discovered
how she relates to all this, and there's another scientist, an Israeli chemist named Baruch Stearman. He comes into the story. But let's take a break, and then we'll get into all that when we come back. And,
sounds great.
Yeah, fun stuff.
That phone number, 800-721-9313. 7 minutes to the top of the hour. Pastor Ryan Speakman, best-selling author, videographer, professor, and YouTuber, is in the studio with me this morning.
Yeah, good-looking guy, if you ask my wife.
Yeah, your wife, man. telling you.
If she's in a good mood, she'll say, "Yeah, he's all right."
Well, after your anniversary weekend away,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that she thinks you're still kind of cute. So
I get that. I get that vibe. Yeah, yeah. Last weekend, celebrated 28 years.
yeah, man.
Which
again,
is just
congratulations
wonderful.
on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we're going.
Fantastic.
We have celebrated our 23rd in May. So
Yeah, I remember.
It's
You and me, man, old married guys.
Old
gosh.
married guys.
Isn't that
I'm
cool?
telling
Yeah,
you.
that's it.
I'm a little older than you, but speaking
month.
of older, Jerusalem or Israel is 53 years old as well this year. As of actually they're 70.
Yeah, it's 72 years.
Yeah, 72 years.
Yeah, you're thinking of the recapturing the Temple Mount.
Right.
Yes,
right.
And
actually,
yeah, that was in 1967. So, and I've said this before, but that moment, the recapturing the Temple Mount, was the most important moment in human history since the time of Christ. And that sounds like so sensationalist, but it's 100% true. When the Jews recaptured the Temple Mount, that was the moment that this all became possible, that the Holy Temple could be rebuilt. Again, that's the only sure sign that we're watching for, that Jesus really is coming back very, very soon. When that process begins, construction of the Holy Temple, that's essentially going to align with the start of the 7-year Great Tribulation. So that won't be the only hint that he's coming back soon.
Yeah.
There's going to be a couple other things, major cosmic impact event, rise of the Antichrist, all that. But what I like about the temple is that that's the light in all this. That's the positive aspect. And Satan knows it. And again, the Antichrist, he'll move in, he'll commit what the Bible calls the abomination of desolation. That's in Daniel chapter 9, really all the way through chapter 12. The book of Matthew 100% talks about that. Matthew chapter 24, verse 15, Mark 13, Luke 21, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. So that event is, very prominent in Scripture. Of course, Revelation, chapter 11 through 13, let's say. But when the Antichrist, on the day of dedication, so the temple will be under construction for about 3.5 years, and that's the first half of the Great Tribulation. And then halfway through the Great Tribulation, on the day of dedication, that's the day that the Jews officially, inaugurate the new temple and temple services begin. The Antichrist will march into the temple, go into the Holy of Holies, sit on the throne, which I believe is the Ark of the Covenant. I mean, what else, right? The mercy seat.
Right.
That's where God sits in heaven. That's where, Jesus will sit here. Well, Satan tries to usurp that throne. He's been promising that, that's prophesied in Isaiah chapter 14, that he'll, sit on the Mount of Congregation, that's the Temple Mount, and, show himself to be God. He wants to be God of this universe, and do that, he has
got him
to
kicked out of heaven in the first place.
He's So that's
he wanted to be bigger, and greater than the Almighty Himself, and His Creator.
Right. So here's how this ties into what we're talking about: the incense. Okay, that the first day, the first moment that the incense is burned is on that day of dedication. And this is something I wasn't quite sure about. And interestingly, Bill, just since our last episode 2 weeks ago, I've kind of fine-tuned the timing of that. So even in our last episode 2 weeks ago, I was still thinking, we know that the daily sacrifice of the lamb, that will actually commence on the day the construction begins. So that the daily, what we call the daily sacrifice, one lamb in the morning, one in the evening. Right. This is again from my interview with Rabbi Richmond back in 2012, right, of the Temple Institute. That will commence the day the construction begins. So that'll be happening, during the entire 3.5 years that the third temple is being built. But I finally got a clear, direct answer from, it's called Chabad. That's a very, very, well-known, famous international organization of Jewish scholars. And they also, have you ever heard of the Chabad House? So in most major cities, even some smaller cities around the world, it's a place that's run by this organization Chabad, and you can go and have Shabbat dinner there for free.
Oh, really?
Wow. Yeah. My friend Vern and I actually did that in 2014. We thought, why not? Went down the Western Wall, the Chabad House, had their free Shabbat dinner. It's pretty good. But these guys are like just experts on all this stuff, right? So just about a week ago, I heard from a rabbi at Chabad, and he confirmed. He said no, for sure, the incense offering won't take place until the day of dedication. So But between now and then, we have to figure out what the incense is, right? So, so this has become a really exciting endeavor of mine. I mean, I've always got projects going on. Nothing's ever compared to this one. That this is cool. So, because long story short, we're going, and we'll get in the details of this, but I'm actually working to actually help bring this about. And when I say it's not me. It's everyone involved in my ministry. But and just if anyone wants to jump the gun and go read about this, we mentioned this 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Go to my website, thesefinaldays.org, and click on the link that says incense. You'll also see right on the main page a picture of the high priest and the incense altar, and it'll talk about the incense project. Just click on that, and you can read all the details. Meantime, so again, this is all in the context of part 3 of my book series. Why don't we give away part 1 of my book series right now? Or
we're gonna give it away in a little bit, but I wanted to tell people that they're also going to have a chance to win part 2.
Yeah, so
but
part
there's
1.
A catch.
Yes, there is a catch for part 2.
Well, actually, it's a question.
It's a question. So part 1, we'll say the fifth caller.
Coming up after the news and weather in the next hour, we'll do the fifth caller, and then when you call in, Ryan, in fact, is going to tell you the question ahead of time.
Yes.
Before we actually give the books away.
Yes.
And then what'll take place is I'll play a song, and then when we come out of that break, we will do the contest, and then you'll have a chance to Google it, as my kids always tell me to do.
This is why God created Google, yes. Yeah. Because my questions are never easy. I can't help it. I got to make them interesting, but it gets people thinking. That's what I love about you.
Right. Get people thinking, exactly.
Yeah.
The phone number again, 800-721-9313. We'll be doing that in about 15 to 20 minutes from now, so stay tuned for that opportunity. And before that, Ryan is going to tell you what the question is. So, so plenty of time to find the answer if you don't know it already.
Right.
Sounds good, right?
That's the plan, man.
Yeah, and I might even throw in a CD.
Yeah,
so
we should.
We're gonna have some fun with you this morning. The phone number again, 800-721-9313. News weather coming up right now on your Celebration Radio Network. We are looking for the main spirit in the sky.
Ultimate spirit in the sky.
Ultimate, Jesus.
Who's actually not even coming back as a spirit.
No, he won't.
He's coming back in his
flesh and blood, glorious body and glorified body, rather. Yeah. And
coming back on a white horse in the sky.
Yeah,
we're watching,
awesome.
Man. Yeah, coming soon.
Yeah. Stay tuned, right?
Yep. That's what we talk about here. So
yeah. He actually tells us to, when you see these things to come to pass, to look up, because your redemption draws nigh. So,
yes, that's Luke chapter 21. Exactly.
I mean, hey.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that's what this show is all about. Is
right, that
is
coming kingdom.
Looking at the things, are they coming to pass? So,
and they are, and they have been for a long time. Since
it's crazy, all the piece of the puzzle. So the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, lays out all these signs and details and what's going to be happening in the last days, right before Jesus comes back.
Now, I have a question for you real quick.
Cool.
You were talking about puzzles. Have you ever put together like a 5,000 piece puzzle and you're like missing a piece? And it's
I'm
just
sure,
like you're
it's been a few years.
What's going on? Where'd it go?
Where's that last piece? Yeah.
That God doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah,
because he already has all the pieces.
He's orchestrating everything. I mean, this actually just came up, in my class last night. So I teach a class every Thursday night, at Living Word Family Church here in Havasu.
And you live stream it too, right?
Yeah, which is really exciting. We've been getting viewers and people commenting from all over the world, lately. So the last few months, it's actually kind of gone international. So, but so people can catch it on my Facebook page. Facebook.com/These Final Days every Thursday at 6 p.m. Arizona time, right? Mm-hmm. But so this point came up. So I've been talking about, again, the pieces of the puzzle that have to be in place before the temple can be built, which is the number one sign that we're watching for, right? And one of those is, again, the red heifer. Well, when I interviewed Rabbi Richmond back in 2012, one point he made, and this may have even been like an email exchange later, I don't remember exactly when, but he told me that it didn't really matter what species, what breed of cow. So red heifer is like a red-colored female cow, right?
Yeah, that's just a standard term for a female cow, is the heifer
Right,
part.
right. So the first red heifer
doesn't have to be an Angus or or a Texas Longhorn or. Is there a specific, like you're trying to get to, and I'm interrupting?
Oh no, that's okay. That's okay. But you're asking the right question. So yeah, is there a specific breed? And according to Rabbi Richmond, who again at the time, he's retired now, was the international director of the Temple Institute. I mean, he's like at the top of the people preparing to rebuild the temple. And his opinion, when he and I had this conversation, is that, it doesn't really matter what breed. And at that point, there'd been the first red heifer born, again, first one in 2,000 years. The world hadn't seen one in 2,000 years. In 1994, if I remember the year correctly, on a ranch in Camden, New Jersey, of all places. So this is some kind of American dairy cow or something. And that one didn't quite make it to its third birthday without sprouting more than one white or black hair, which is what renders a red heifer, non-kosher. They can't be the red heifer, but still exciting, right? So a few years later, another one was born, and they started to kind of like pop up in various, locations. Well, so Rabbi Richmond told me, he said, look, it can be, like you said, like Angus. It could be, from, the Scottish Reds, whatever. Actually, that's the Angus, right? The Scottish, breed. But one of my participants in my Thursday class, his name is Kurt Jackson. He'll be mad I mentioned his name on the air. I think he's wanted by Interpol or something. But he came up to me after class. He said, God is so precise with all that stuff. All this stuff. Everything has to be so specific. Like we're talking about the incense. There's 11 ingredients of the incense. They have to be precisely correct.
Those 11 secret spices. Yeah.
Like KFC. I love that. Yeah, you made that up. It didn't even occur to me. I told you 2 weeks ago I'm stealing that from you. But the ingredients have to be exactly precisely correct, or the incense is not accepted. It's not acceptable.
Right.
Literally, if they burn the incense on the incense altar on the day of dedication, in the outer sanctuary of the Holy Temple,
I would not want to be them.
It actually defiles the entire temple, and I don't know what it would take to undefile it. It has to be perfect, right? Well, so this friend of mine, he said, well, that must be true about the red heifer too. It must have to come from a specific species, and I think he's probably right. So Rabbi Richmond, I think his opinion was no. My thought is probably yes.
God is so specific about every
and that's the thing, is that regardless of
building this temple, why wouldn't he be specific about the sacrifice?
Yeah, but to get to your point that you made a few minutes ago, God will see it done. He'll make sure that even if we as fallible human beings, we're tending toward a mistake here, we're going to go with a Scottish Angus red heifer. Well, it can't be that breed. Well, it turns out that the Temple Institute, after I think it was the third red heifer, I can't remember. I think that one was actually born in Israel, but it didn't quite make it to its third birthday without becoming unkosher. One of them got pregnant. One of the red heifers.
Oh, well,
that's the ultimate biblical blemish.
No.
Yeah, right. That's the ultimate thing to. But so the Temple Institute, they started their own program now. I mentioned this previously. They have a secret ranch. They have a ranch at an undisclosed location in northern Israel. I'm hoping I get a pass to it. I'm friends with those guys. I'm going to try to talk them into, hey, show me the ranch.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
I'm going to try next time I'm over there.
Video.
Absolutely. But they happen to be raising the breed of red cows that are native to the Holy Land.
Oh, cool.
And I can't remember the name of the species. I've got to look this up and commit this to memory. But the point is that I think that probably is the breed that God expects, and he's seeing it done in spite of, various people's opinions. It's going to be the actual breed that must have been the same breed way back in Jesus' day when the 9th red heifer was sacrificed, right?
Okay.
So, but again, so back to this point of the incense, it's got to be, the correct ingredients.
Yeah.
We're working, and I say we, meaning, me, my ministry, people involved in my ministry, you.
Right.
You're going to be in on this,
yes.
right?
Yes.
To
and
help,
then this doctor from Australia.
Yeah. To help figure out conclusively what one of the missing ingredients is. So there's one ingredient out of the 11 that we don't know to this day exactly what it is, okay? But this marine biologist in Australia, of all places, of all people,
how weird,
but she's starting to hone in on what this is. But but we're not quite there yet, or she's not quite there yet. I mean the human race, right? So
right.
But we have a plan in place, in action right now, okay, underway to help her to conclusively solve this mystery of this, incense ingredient. Before we get into all that, though, I think we need to take another break. But we're going to be giving away my books.
Yes,
so should I throw out the question now, or
yeah, that'll give people a chance to Google this, because you told me what the question is, and most likely no one's going to know the answer.
No one's going to know
right off the top of their head, unless they're a Hebrew scholar or
really really into this stuff, which is possible. So it's not an uncommon thing to know this, unless you're but you have to be Jewish to know the answer off the top of your head. So if there's anyone Jewish listening, maybe they'll know, right? But so here's the question. It's not a brain teaser, because you can't think this one out. You just either know it or you don't. I want people to tell us. I want our listeners to tell us when they call in, what is the Hebrew word for the holy incense? Okay, so the holy incense that's burned, in the temple, right? Twice a day. Okay.
Yeah.
When the temple is in operation.
Yep.
And then also once on the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, the high priest goes in to the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant will sit again one day. And his first visit into the Holy of Holies, he burns a very large offering. It's like a double handful, it's called, of the holy incense. So what's the Hebrew word for the holy incense? But we're going to take a break. That'll give people a chance to
Google
this is
it.
why God created Google, right? So, but this just to make it more fun. And this whole...
And what that does is they automatically win book one when they're the, fifth caller?
Yep.
Fifth caller. And if you can answer that question, you'll get book two and a CD of your choice off the back rack. So
get your phone in your hand and figure out what is the Hebrew word for the holy incense.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
All right.
You heard it from Pastor Ryan on your Celebration Radio Network. Our number, again, 800-721-9313. I guess we didn't explain the contest very well. We had several calls during those last couple of songs.
Nice to hear from people, though.
Yeah. Great to hear from Pastor Daniel and Prescott. And Cora Lynn sent me a text message with the answer. So now she needs to call.
She's got to call and be caller number 5. But Cora Lynn, if you make it to number 5, you got it right. And
she does have it right.
So. Pastor Daniel was close, but not quite. But he's a pastor, so I gave him a hint. Right. Hey, real quick shout out to my wife, Pam, who's listening. And good morning, honey. And Bill says hi.
Yes, hi.
So
how you doing today? And happy anniversary. So the phone number, 800-721-9313. Your opportunity to win right now. Pastor Ryan Speakman's first book, These Final Days, and the part 1, and then you'll have an opportunity to win part 2 if you can answer.
You get part 1 just
question.
For being caller number 5, but if you answer this question, you also get part 2 in addition.
So
and a CD.
What was the question again?
The question is, tell us the Hebrew word for the holy incense, the incense that's used in the temple. And again, this is why God created Google. This is an easy one.
I was going to say I could give you a hint. Just ask Cora Lynn.
Yeah, exactly.
That phone number, 800-721-9313.
So we're taking callers right now,
right? Callers right now.
Yep.
At 800-721-9313. Be caller number 5, and you win book 1. And then if you can answer that question, you'll get book 2 as well, and your choice of a CD that I have in front of me that I'll tell you which ones they are. Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network. Who's this?
It's Cora Lynn.
Cora Lynn, you're number one, yes. We know that you have the right answer. Yeah. Don't say what it is.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
We need you to call back and be caller number 5.
Okay, I'm trying.
All right, thanks.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Again, that phone number, 800-721-9313. I've got Crowder in front of me, Jeremy Camp, both of his latest albums, Micah Tyler, Unspoken, Sanctus Real, The Newsboys, Danny Goki, Rhett Walker, Matthew West, Austin French, Phil Wickham, Micah Tyler, Corey Asbury, The Afters, and 10th Avenue North. Now, you get to pick one of those as well as get book 1. And if you can answer the question, what is the Hebrew word
for the
Holy
Holy
Incense, you'll get book 2 as well.
Yep.
So again, that phone number, 800-721-9313. Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network.
Yep, it's Daniel again.
Hey, Daniel,
Pastor.
you're caller number 2, so try again, okay?
Yes, sir.
Keep
Thank you.
All
trying.
right, thanks. And again, that phone number, 800-721-9313, 800-721-9313. So you were talking about a doctor, a marine biologist, Pastor
Yeah,
Ryan.
so she's not Jewish. She's
right.
and
she
she's
lives
never even
in
been.
Australia.
Yeah, she's never even been to Israel. She hasn't been there. But she's a Christian, and as a marine biologist, her specialty is actually mollusks. Okay, of all things, right? Which let's take that call.
Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You're caller number 3. Oh, okay. They just want to get that.
He's going to hang up and dial real fast.
Yeah.
So, Bill, what are mollusks? Do you know what those are?
They're like clams, snails, things that.
A
bottom
clam, an
feed,
oyster,
oysters.
But yes, exactly.
Things with shells.
Things with shells. Yeah, good way
Yeah.
of putting it. So, and you just named the kind of the important one here, which is snails, sea snails.
Yes, right. A sea snail.
So that includes sea snails. So, and she's very prominent. She's the head of the Department of Marine Biology at the Southern Cross University in Australia, and she's been at this for decades. Do we have another caller?
Yes, we do.
Let's take them. Yep.
Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network. Who's this?
Kimberly?
Hi, Kimberly. You are caller number 4.
Okay.
Try again. Hang up. Call right back. So 1-800-721-9313.
Here's caller number 5.
Caller number 5. Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network. Who's this?
It's me.
Coraline?
You
And
did
you're
it.
caller number 5, which is perfect. And we already know you know the answer. So
Yeah,
I'm
now
gonna,
all the other lines are lit up.
yeah. Sorry, everyone.
they do
Coraline
that.
beat you. But Coraline deserves this because not only did she get the right answer, but she texted it to Bill
she
during
sent
the
me
last
a
break.
picture.
And a picture. So, that's extra
so-
points, people. You send Bill a picture or a text, But yeah, so Coraline, what is the Hebrew word for the holy incense?
Ketoret. K-E-T-O-R-E-T.
Perfect. And I think it's pronounced Ketoret, but pronunciation is irrelevant
Yeah,
here. This
irrelevant.
Is,
She has the spelling.
You nailed
I
it.
spelled
Yeah.
correct.
You nailed it.
Oh yeah, you got so you just looked that up online to find that, which everyone was going to have to do. I had to look it up online too when I was studying this. So, but yeah, so very good. And Coraline, where are you calling from?
Yucca Valley, actually Flamingo Heights.
Oh, great.
Flamingo
Okay.
Heights in California, yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. So you win part 1 of my book series. Just for calling in, and you win part 2 because you got the right answer.
And now you got to pick a music CD as well.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You named off too many.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. I said you got your choice off of the rack, and that's how many. Actually, there's more back there. I didn't grab
Don't name
one
more. I
from.
can't even remember what you ordered.
Well, there's some Jeremy Camp. I have 2 albums from him. Crowder.
Okay, Crowder. What is that song you just played a little while ago?
Love God, Love People
No, not that one.
by Danny Gilkey. Let's see.
There was a Toby Mac one, I
also
think.
played Sanctus Real, Today, Tomorrow, and Forever. And then I did Still Rolling Stones by Lauren Daigle.
I think
but
that's a
I
wonderful
have that CD.
Yeah, I don't have that CD.
I already have it.
So Today, Tomorrow, and Forever by Sanctus Real, and I do have a Sanctus Real CD, but I'm gonna check here to see if it's on there, if that song is actually one of them, because sometimes we get CDs and they release new music off of a new CD that's coming up, and we don't have it just yet, kind of thing. And yeah, it's not on this one.
Okay,
so
what's on the Jeremy Camp one? I ordered the movie.
I Still Believe.
I Still
Okay.
Believe,
Oh, wow.
and I got it from Greg Laurie. I just got it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
Yeah, I have I Still Believe, the greatest hits by Jeremy Camp, and then I Still Believe from it's got Dead Men Walking. It says it's the title of it is The Story's Not Over. And
I'll take that one.
it has Only You Can, Still Alive, Dead Men Walking, Should Have Been Me, Father, Keep Me in the Moment, which we play.
That's the one I want.
Yeah, okay.
I was just going to ask you if that song was on there. I love that song.
Yeah, it's also on. No, it's not on this one. On the other one, but I Still Believe is. But yeah, so I'll get you this one instead. The newest one. It's a brand new album. Dead Men Walking is the #1 hit single on this album, which is a great song. But so is Keep Me in the Moment. I really like that one. The story behind that was just incredible when he said that he was watching his kids' lives pass by, being on tour and all of that, and he was like, "Whoa, God, you got to keep me in this moment."
That's right.
To help raise my children, and if you know anything about Jeremy Camp's story of how he lost his first wife to cancer, and so 80, his second wife is pretty incredible music artist herself, and so it'll be a great album for you.
Woohoo!
All right.
I just wanted to say, let me just say one more thing.
Okay.
I have been following you guys on Fridays when you're on there because I'm really super interested in this. So praise God.
Oh, great.
Like
well,
I
good.
told you before, I always pray first, Lord, that if you want me to have whatever they're offering, then let me be that caller.
Yeah, you did it. Yeah, you did it.
Yeah, nicely done.
So I'm glad you like the topic. So yeah, I think you really like the 2 books. And then watch for part 3. I'll be publishing that later this year. I know, Bill, I keep pushing the date further and further
out.
up.
It was supposed to be.
It's because of stuff like this, because of this incense
I
thing.
know, and the COVID and
that
the
too,
pandemic,
yeah.
and you had to kind of incorporate that into the book as well, or go a little deeper, I should say.
Oh yeah, just so it's but we're getting there. But yeah, so part 3 coming soon. Elijah always says coming soon. TM. I have that trademark.
Trademark. Yeah.
But Colin, if you're interested, also look for my videos on YouTube. YouTube.com/These
I've
Final
already
Days.
done that.
Oh, great! And I have documentaries, from Israel that I've done on my various trips, and a lot of fun stuff there.
You know what? I'm going to throw in the part 1 of your DVD series too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do that. Yeah,
I'm going to do that.
Yeah, there you go. What a guy, Bill. Yeah, so there you go.
All right, Corlin, I've got your info, so congratulations again, and we'll get this out to you in the mail, okay?
Okay, God bless you guys. Have a good day.
God bless you.
as well. Thanks, Corlin.
Bye-bye.
Well, we're going to go to some music. Well, actually, I'm going to go to the bottom of the hour news, which is just, a few minutes late, but we'll get to that, and we'll be right back. More with Pastor Ryan Speakman.
And when we come back, we'll talk specifically about Dr. Kirsten's
research,
research, and how exciting this is.
It is.
Yeah.
And what an incredible breakthrough. But we'll tell you about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Coming up.
Well, it's about almost 12 minutes to the top of the hour on your Celebration Radio Network. Pastor Ryan Speakman in the studio with me this morning. Again, congratulations to Cora Lynn from Yucca Valley, California, for winning this morning. And that was fun.
It was fun. That was great.
We have to
start doing that
every Friday.
For sure. I don't know why we haven't been doing this. Yeah, I like to hear from callers. So, and anyone else who can't live without my books in the meantime, go to Amazon.com. Just look for These Final Days. My name is Ryan Speakman, Speakman. You'll find them. Or just go to my website, thesefinaldays.org. You can find my books there. So.
And the cool thing about that is you have a link to knlb.com where they can listen live and
absolutely,
and, all of that, and I know that you always say give to the ministry and things, and we appreciate that.
I
much.
very much consider These Final Days Ministries to be in full partnership with KNLB. I mean,
definitely with you. Yeah,
you guys have been having me on for years, and you help to promote my ministry, and it's a partnership. I love you guys. Yeah. So I always tell people, please support your Celebration Radio Network. Go to knlb.com. You'll see a donate button. Where else can they go to donate?
They can go to sharethelightnow.com, which is just set aside for giving. And it's secure, completely secure, and you can do it with your American Express. Any credit card, and also checking account, bank information. You can you could call us as well, and we can even set it up for a monthly draw on your checking account,
which
or
is
your
which is
credit
what
card,
which is what Pam and I
debit card.
do. Yeah, so Pam and I have been Air
you
Team
set the
members
date, and you just you don't have to worry about it. I
Right,
mean, it just
right.
automatically comes out.
Yeah, but this is good ground to sow into.
Oh, it
this,
is,
this radio
for sure.
network. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not like
give
going
to
out
your
in the
church,
darkness.
and then give to KNLB.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
You know,
and then give to these final days. Yes, in that order. Okay. So yeah, if you have anything left over, But
so Dr.
Dr. Kirsten. So she's again, she's not Jewish. She's Christian. Okay, but somehow she had caught on to this verse in Exodus chapter 30, verse 34. God giving instructions to Moses on Mount Sinai about everything related to the temple,
from the little ringlets in the curtains to
the
poles, to the skins, to the the dyes,
the Ark of the Covenant, the blueprints of the temple.
He's up there for 40 days.
The priestly garments, a lot of information, yeah. So, which is actually a pertinent point because, as it turns out, Moses didn't write down everything that God told him.
Yeah,
most of what God told him, he just passed
Joshua
on
was up
orally.
there, so he was probably writing down too, like crazy.
Well, he wasn't with Moses at that time when God was giving him the instructions for the temple.
Right,
Moses was by
that
himself
was
up there for the 40
for
days.
the 10 Commandments, he was up there for.
Well,
I think, right?
I don't think so. No, we'll have to debate this. Offline. Yeah,
I thought it was for the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, he was.
I know he was up there once.
You might be thinking of when Moses was overseeing like a battle with the Midianites or something. Really? Okay.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
I think it was during the 10 Commandments. Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna have to look this up. So or have a caller look it up on Wikipedia. Call and tell us, right? So
Google it.
Yeah. But anyways, whoever was up there, we know that God's talking about. And he told, and it says, and the Lord said to Moses, again, this is Exodus chapter 30, verse 34, take sweet spices, and then he names them, stocte and onycha and galbanum and pure frankincense. With these sweet spices there shall be equal amounts of each. So God gives Moses the special recipe for the incense. Now, I said before that just like, Colonel Sanders, that was your joke.
Yeah.
11, secret herbs and spices, right? There's actually 11 ingredients to the incense. Well, here we only get 4, okay? So the other 7 were passed down orally by Moses. So he picked a particular family called the Ophtinas family, and he told them the whole recipe. He only wrote down these 4 ingredients. But these 4 are very, very interesting. So these are kind of the 4 core ingredients of the incense, okay?
They're probably the main, the main portions kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. The most important ones, right?
Those.
And now what's interesting is that 3 of these 4, we know right offhand what they are. I mean, I don't personally, stocta, galbanum, I don't know. Frankincense, I actually take that as a supplement, every day. That's a good one to take for your immune system.
And it smells good too.
It smells good. It smells like kind of like eucalyptus or something. But the onycha, that has actually been a mystery for over 1,500 years. No one has known, where the onycha come from. Now, it's not that it was a big secret back in the day, but after several centuries of, the temple's been destroyed, the Jews are, in exile. They're nowhere near the Holy Land.
Yeah,
they're not. They haven't. No one's made the incense in hundreds of years by this point. We're talking about 2,000 years ago, and so the Jews just kind of forgot. They didn't make it a point to really go into great detail.
Yeah,
hey, this is
really,
what it is.
Why would you really? I
mean,
so
there's hints in ancient writing. So, and we're talking about the all time the most important ancient writing. So Josephus, the writings of Flavius Josephus, the famous Roman historian. Writing shortly after around the time of the destruction of the temple, he gave hints about the onycha. The onycha, by the way, that's a Greek word. It's shechelet in the Hebrew is what it's called. The Talmud talks about, gives hints about what the onycha is. And Maimonides, who wrote the Mishnah Torah in the 12th century.
No, that's a rabbi, right?
The most famous rabbi in Jewish history, Maimonides, extremely well respected, and he wrote a 38-volume set called the Mishnah Torah. What that is, that's the oral Torah. This is, and what that
would be the stuff that's not written in, the 5 books of the law. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So all the stuff that Moses didn't, put to paper, that's what Maimonides wrote down, and we see a lot of it in the Talmud, etc. So there's hints about the onycha. So a lot of scholars, even centuries ago, were thinking, well, it must be some kind of an herb or a plant or something, and yet Josephus, the Talmud, Maimonides, they all say that it comes from the sea. So if it's a plant from the sea, what are we talking about? Seaweed?
Seaweed,
That
kelp,
doesn't sound very good
kinda
for
something or
incense. I don't know,
Yeah.
possibly. And it's actually stranger than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it actually, it turns out it's not a plant, and Maimonides actually gives the most important clue. He says it is tsiporin, which is from the sea, and he says it's what people use in incense. Okay, so again, this is in the 12th century, over 1,000 years since the destruction of the temple. But Maimonides is saying this is a thing from the sea that is tsiporin is the Hebrew word that he uses there. And he says it's used in incense, even in his time, 1,000 years after the temple. So,
Well, it was probably pretty prevalent in the Red Sea, which was, right around that area.
actually,
So-
in every sea around the world, as it
Yeah.
turns out, okay, in
Well-
various forms. But tsiporin means fingernail or claw. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So what Dr. Kirsten, this marine biologist in Australia, she knew from her research, being an expert on mollusks, including sea snails, that throughout Asia, in India, even into North Africa, that to this very day in our time, Bill, and Maimonides' time too, that incense makers throughout these areas, a lot of them use this weird anatomical feature of certain sea snails called the operculum, okay, or opercula is the plural. And what it is, it literally is like a fingernail. It looks and feels like a fingernail.
Have you ever seen snails up close? Have you held them or anything?
Sea snails,
Not just
actually
sea snails,
have.
but I mean any snail.
Yeah, in fact, on our anniversary trip up in Prescott,
Really?
Yeah.
You guys ate snails?
We didn't eat. Oh, you said
okay.
eat. I thought you said
No, I
like
said
held
a
the
hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did not eat these. They were all over the sidewalks. It was raining, and
Oh,
yeah.
wow,
So
okay.
and it was kind of exciting because we don't see snails in Havasu.
I grew up on a lake, and so snails
Yeah.
were pretty prevalent. And when you pick one up, it'll go back into its body, and there's a protective coating, like a fingernail.
Especially
that,
with
covers-
certain sea snails have this little trap door that when they feel
exactly.
threatened,
Yeah.
that's the operculum. And and Dr. Kirsten, she's like, well, I know that this is used in by a lot of incense makers. So she actually decided as a scientist to conduct scientific research on this. Okay, is this little trapdoor feature of a sea snail, is this what the oniha actually is? And based on the hints from the Talmud, Maimonides, it looked like a good candidate. So her team, I don't know how much time they spent doing this, but they actually created special scientific equipment for it, et cetera. And they did chemical analysis of the operculum to see, hey, is this a good candidate for what's described, in the Bible? So why don't we take another break, listen to some music. We come back. I want to actually read the results of Dr. Benkendorf's research, and then explain what this has to do with us and our, ambitious goal that we have.
Yeah. We got one more break coming up. Lighten Up. It'll be right after Lighten Up. Up next, though, speaking of lighten, it's Lightning by the Aptors.
Cool.
Have you heard this song? This is a new release.
I'll let you know when I hear it.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I love this song.
I don't know.
The phone number, 800-721-9313 if you have a prayer request, 800-721-9313. Well, it's 11 minutes after the hour on your Celebration Radio Network. Prayer coming up in less than 20 minutes. If you have that prayer request, call 800-721-9313. So Pastor Ryan Pastor Ryan Speakman is in the studio with me for one more break. There we go.
Yep.
We're talking about the little fingernail. What did you call it again?
It's the operculum.
Operculum.
Yeah. It's a little trapdoor on a sea snail, right? So Dr. Benkendorf, again, not Jewish, never been to Israel, but she had this theory as a marine biologist. Hey, is this actually this mysterious, fourth ingredient, named in the Torah in the book of Exodus? The oniha.
Oniha.
So
right.
her team, they actually built, a purpose, driven apparatus like specifically for this purpose. But they wanted to do some chemical analysis of, preparing the operculum, burning it, and just, see, just how pertinent this is to be a potential ingredient of the holy incense, right? And again, the clues from the Talmud, Maimonides, Josephus, they all seem to support this hypothesis.
Kind of like coincide with,
Yeah. So, and I love this because it's like real
research.
science. 2017, her team published their scientific paper, and I'm just going to read from it here, so not to get too scientific with people, but we're going to do it. Our analyses revealed that when burnt, the opercula releases aromatic phenols, compounds that are often used in the fragrance industry as antioxidants. We also detected chlorinated phenols that have a medicinal scent at very low concentrations. These smoke compounds are consistent with reported use of the opercula, contributing to the long-lasting smell of incense. The medicinal fragrance of opercula smoke is also highly compatible with the use of sacred incense for purifying the holy temple and ritualized cleansing during spiritual ceremonies.
Wow.
So very exciting. So they actually did, scientific chemical analysis, and they said, look, this is a very good candidate. Now, here's the catch to all this, though. So I ran across this research in writing, part 3 of my book series again, right? These Final Days. And what I noticed, though, is, okay, Dr. Kirsten, she hasn't been to Israel, and the species that they did their testing with, it's a species of sea snail that lives off the coast of Australia and New Zealand called Decathias orbita. Okay, so great, that's the sea snail they used, right? Well, what occurred to me, because I had just finished writing my previous, so I'm writing my section on the incense. I just finished writing my previous section on the techelet, the blue dye.
Yeah,
and
that I think comes from sea creature as well.
As
Probably
it
like an
turns
oyster
out,
or clam or
and we're gonna have to
some
save
kind of shellfish.
We're gonna have to save the details of that story, which is equally fascinating for our next show in 2 weeks. But long story short, the mystery of the techelet happens to involve a sea snail, but it's a different species altogether. It's called Murex trunculus, and it lives in a place that Kirsten's never been to, so she didn't have access to it. The Mediterranean Sea, of course, off the coast of Israel. So immediately, lights went off. Well, it turns out, it's not such a far out there thought. I mean, like, who wouldn't make that connection immediately? Sea snail, right? Yeah. Well, Dr. Kirsten, as it turns out, that had occurred to her too, and she had actually written to Dr. Baruch Stearman of the Techelet Institute, Patil Techelet, near Jerusalem. I've been there. I have seen the process of making the blue dye. I actually participated in it. Making this blue dye, which is again another one of the pieces of the puzzle that has to be solved before the Holy Temple can be rebuilt. Okay, that discovery was only made, how recently? The 1980s. I think it was 1984. So again, in our lifetime.
Yeah.
But this sea snail connection, right? So I wrote to Dr. Kirsten. She said, you know what, Dr. Baruch and I, we were in touch 3 years ago. We thought the same thing. We need to get together and collaborate. And Dr. Kirsten, she had written to the Evangelical Society of Australia, and this Christian organization in Australia said, this is exciting, we want to be involved. And they said they were going to put together a grant to bring Kirsten and Baruch together, in other words, to send Kirsten to Jerusalem to collaborate, these two scientists, to possibly, hopefully, probably, positively identify the Onicha once and for all after 1,600 years, 1,700 years of not knowing what this ingredient is. But the money never came through. The grant never came through.
Oh, really?
So,
wow.
So guess what? I thought, well, why not? Let's do it.
Do a fundraiser and get her over there.
So we're working to raise $6,500, and as of last night, we're up to $1,943.
Really?
In just 5 weeks of fundraising, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
So we're almost a third of the way there. Right now travel's shut down because of the pandemic. So Israel isn't even going to consider letting foreign travelers come until September at the soonest.
Yeah.
So even if we have the full grant right now, which we don't, it's going to, I'm sure, take a couple more months, I'm guessing, unless somebody just calls me up and says, hey, here's $5,000, do it. But anyways, anyone who might be interested in looking at the details, I'm not here raising funds for my ministry at all. I always tell everybody, look, if you want to make a donation, support your Celebration Radio Network, go to knlb.com or share the light. What is
now.com.
Sharethelightnow.com and sow into this ground, and that helps to support our radio show that we do every couple weeks, and this amazing ministry called KNLB, Your Celebration Radio Network. But this endeavor that I'm involved in, helping to prepare for It's exciting, man.
It is, yes.
So thesefinaldays.org/incense, or just go to thesefinaldays.org and click on the incense link, and you can kind of
read all about it, yeah.
the details. But I guess we'll call it a day today, and then in 2 weeks we'll come back. And what I want to do is I want to tie in this whole sea snail thing. I mean, sea snails of all things, right? Talking about the Holy Temple.
Cool
what? Right? Yeah, what? But we're gonna tie this into the blue dye.
I wonder what Moses thought. He's on the mountain, and writing this stuff down, and all of a sudden God tells him, "Oh, by the way, in order to make the incense, you need a sea snail."
A sea snail of all things,
and
not just the incense, but the blue dye also.
Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, people say that, God has a sense of humor. Well, that's proof right there.
Yeah, because he's on a mountain in the middle of the desert. He's going to be stuck out there for 40 years, and God's saying, you need a sea snail.
Yeah, you need a sea snail.
Okay, where do we get that? But, God knows.
Yeah, we left the Red Sea behind.
Right.
I don't really want to go back there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this one's going to come from the Mediterranean. And But yeah, it's so exciting. So I'm just... I feel so honored and privileged to be part of the generation that will see Christ's return. But especially this, man, to just have this opportunity to get involved. Let's actually help to make this thing happen. And I'm talking to the Temple Institute about this. I'm talking to Chabad about this. And we're gonna do it. And it's actually even more exciting than that. There's other opportunities beyond this, but we want to solve the Onicha first. So again, thesefinaldays.org/incense if you want to read about it. And in the meantime, please support this radio network, Your Celebration Radio Network, KNLB.com.
Thank you for doing that.
And thank you to Farron and Miss Debbie, for allowing us to do this show every couple weeks. And
it's a privilege.
Love those guys so much. And
same here.
You talk about an anointed, powerful,
power
couple. Yeah, they're doing amazing things for the kingdom of God, so keep it up.
Working hand in hand to spread the word and move those tent pegs.
Yeah.
And speaking about working hand in hand, Farron has been on the road for the last couple of days, and to install those processors that we raised money for and took a step of faith in ordering. So I would just want to, reiterate how those prayers for his safe travels and are really important.
That's right. So please, listening audience, keep Farron in your prayers. He's traveling right now, like Bill said, New Mexico.
He's either in Truth or Consequences, Safford, or White River. One of those three places are the places where he's putting in the processors. So
in Jesus' name, safe travels and success.
Yes, very much so.
A smooth process, getting those processors in place, and
just making that signal, that light, that hope, the word of God go out, make it sound even better.
Exactly. Yeah, get the word out, man.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. So,
well, again, thank you, Pastor Ryan, for coming in this morning and talking about the coming kingdom and incense.
Yep.
And
so in 2 weeks, we're talking about sea snails again. That's
sea snails.
End of the world and sea snails. That's it. Right.
What a topic. I love it.
That's right. Love it.
1-800-721-9313 for that prayer request. Again, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you very much.
Yeah, love you, man.
Love you too.